Good morning, Pari.
Good morning.
And
Namaste.
thank you so much for being with us today. We prepared some questions for you, and I'll start with the first one. How did you get your name and what does it mean?
My name means actually beyond possessions, pure being. And this name was given to me when I took sannyas from Osho. Back then he was called Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. And after a little short love affair with him, I returned back to him and took the name. I felt I was ready to dive in full into his community and became a sannyasin. Many years I was a sannyasin, a very good sannyasin, a very loyal sannyasin. I was doing my homework really very, very well, whatever was to be done, parties and all these ups and downs and all the rest that belongs to modern times sannyasin. And the joke is that actually a sannyasin is somebody who renounces the world. And the great gift of Osho was to teach us that true renunciation doesn't mean that you renounce pleasure and happiness and whatever, but you renounce something far deeper than that, the attachment to that, to people, to feelings, to emotions. A true sannyasin is that. That's how I always understood him. That's why I'm very happy still to carry a name that is connected to him.
The Netflix documentary Wild Wild West gained a lot of attention. You also lived on the ranch.
Oh yeah.
How was it?
Yes. My invitation to the ranch was a very beautiful surprise in those days. It was a great honor to be invited to go and live and work on the ranch. It was a major happening, especially in the beginning when we were building up the ranch. It was a feeling of pioneer, maybe like the first settlers felt when they moved from the east coast as a caravan with their wagons through the midlands and the fields of the Midwest into the West. We felt like that a bit, like pioneers, bringing the spirit and the flavor of meditation and spirituality to Oregon, to an area where it's actually nothing at all reminding us about India. It was a complete cowboy, Wild West country. So I really enjoyed that feeling of pioneer and doing something crazy and something new. And I enjoyed my time there. I lived long enough to have many beautiful experiences. And there was also the feeling of that this whole thing goes into a direction that I did not like at all at the end. I felt there was something fishy going on behind the scenes, something not really honest, transmitted, spoken, discussed and talked about, and a certain arrogance that we were somebody special. And I did not agree. I never heard this from Osho. This was nothing to do with him personally. I always was in love and still am in love with this beautiful master. There was nothing to do with him. But wherever you have an organization happening and you have people taking care of structures and political and social systems and issues, there's always a danger of being corrupted and being arrogant and misuse of power. And that's exactly what was happening there. I had myself a very nice position. I had also certain power, you can say. But for me, always the value of friendship was number one. Whether it's in a spiritual community or context or in a normal context, I love to have friends, to be friendly with people, to be accessible, to not pretend I'm somebody special or anything like that. And that was pretty much the behavior of many people there, and they were misusing their power. And the biggest chef of the whole place, whose name I don't need to repeat here, she was misusing her power absolutely. And Osho used to say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I decided to face this issue and I was kicked out from the ranch. I was never kicked out from my love towards Osho, but I was actually pretty clear and happy when I was kicked out because it showed me that I was right. In my heart it felt right. To be kicked out proved me that I followed my intimate feelings.
Did Osho know what was going on in the inner circle?
I think he knew. Later on in many interviews he said he was not aware of this or of that, but I think deep down he must have known. It's clear that he also said an enlightened master does not necessarily know that his bedroom is bugged and that he has bugs everywhere. There were even bugging his private rooms to hear what he was talking to other people in order to be able to respond to decisions or talks he had with other people. That was really highly criminal. Well, America is also a place where you get all kind of technical ideas how to fulfill all your deepest desires of spying here, spying there. So partially I understand how this can happen, but I'm pretty much convinced he knew. But I'm also pretty much convinced that he was such a open, crazy kind of Buddha that he was even allowing this. Disaster wants to come, you don't wake up, so bear the consequences. You see the system and you don't say anything against it, so be ready to bear the consequences. He actually even said, I saw my sannyasins sometimes so finished, so tired, and I was wondering, why are my sannyasins so tired? Well, bloody hell, because we're working from day dawn to night arrival, and sometimes even through the night. Sometimes if something needed to be changed, he knew that, of course, in order to finish something. But he was always heavily relying on our intelligence, on our logic also, not just to say, okay, this is for a higher purpose, I sacrifice myself for Mrs. So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so because they are my bosses and I trust. No, he was highly relying on our sense of intelligence. And I always respect that sense with my friends who come to our seminars. I always, this was a good teaching, I always remind myself to not use or misuse any position people might even project on me personally. And I have a high respect for that. So it was a great teaching after all.
After your time with Osho, you met Papaji. Which impact did your relation to Papaji have on your life, and how did you get to him?
Well, meeting Papaji was definitely not only a turning point of my life, it changed everything completely. You can say it turned the inside out completely. And I'm still in awe and wonder and love for this incredible being that has been so crucial for me personally and for many friends also. And to a certain point I owe a lot of respect also to my previous master, Osho, as I just said, Bhagwan, who did a great job in preparing this seeker, you can say, to be able to contain this deep message of love, compassion and absolute transcendence of this so-called reality. When I met Papaji in Lucknow, beginning in the 90s, I was ready to go beyond my own concepts and beliefs and structures and how spirituality should be and looking like. So I could receive his gift. I could receive his gift, which is basically silence in the heart, silence in the mind, and be whoever that isness is in the heart. The big unknown guide that loves us and kisses us and lets us live. That is the gift of Papaji, and I was able to receive it.
And how did the master-disciple relation transform and develop over the years?
He is my master, Papaji, absolutely clear. There was never any change in that. And that relationship has been evolving like everything in life that has a form or structure does evolve. That love did not change at all, but what changed was probably my approach to that relationship. I was seeing him often in the body as somebody outside more, although he showed me the master inside, but still there was this attachment to the body. This attachment to the body leads also to certain attachments in your own understanding. Clearing the throat, very important sadhana. So my attachment to Papaji has developed in an extremely different direction that I would have ever expected. I see him more and more as my own self, nameless and formless, unknowable, and just that which is here and cannot leave. So his body was needed to show me the bodiless. His words were needed to show me the wordless. And his teaching was, in my case, needed to show me what cannot be taught. This is where I'm standing with him right now. When I walk with him. When I wake up, I think about him, I feel his presence, and he promised me that he would be always with me in each in-breath and out-breath, and he kept his promise till this moment. This is what I can absolutely say with all my integrity and honesty about him.
And what does masculinity mean to you?
I was born in a male body, and I love to be male. I tried sometimes to be more female, just to impress some women, but it didn't work. I felt very bad after it. I enjoy to be male, and it's great. This dance of male and female, it's great. I really honor when men have the courage to be male, and I honor if female have the courage to be absolute female. It's such a beautiful strength a woman has when she's trusting herself, loving herself, feeling her femininity and not being shy about it. And a man also, such a glowing beauty that comes out of a man who trusts his male expression. Ultimately, we are expressing something that lives through us in the form of masculinity or masculine expression or feminine expression. That's another story. We can appreciate both levels and both dimensions. I know that this body will be male. I have no plans to change anything about my gender. There is no need till the end of this life. So I'm enjoying to have a male body this time, being completely aware that this body expresses itself through a male expression, maybe through a male appearance, male emotions, male needs, male words sometimes, but what lives in this body is neither male nor female. And this is actually the way out of this problem one has about this male or female expressions often. One should not be too much attached to that. Allowing life is genderless. Life is neither plus nor minus. Life is pulsating, living light, consciousness. It expresses in me through this male body, in you in a female body, in somebody else in another body. But it's good to not forget that life itself is expressing itself.
Do you have any advice for men who struggle to bring more integrity into their masculinity and maleness?
If you want to be a real man, come to satsang. Anything else, if you just go to the disco or you go to the bodybuilding center, you will just get a muscle around your male weakness, muscular bodies hiding your weaknesses, because as a man you cannot show that you are weak, that you are not supposed to cry. A real man has tears, a real man has emotions, a real man shows that he has also the so-called unmale aspects. Not knowing, being desperate, being weak, needing support, all these qualities that we attribute wrongly with women. And these things come out in the true sense of being with yourself, with your truth. You become very male by showing weakness. That's what I mean.
You and Satyaa, you have a daughter, and now she's all grown up and studying. How was it? Which challenges did you face in letting your daughter grow up in a spiritual mindset?
We have a beautiful daughter, and when she came to us, I felt like Guruji himself is visiting us in physical form of a daughter that comes to us. I always had this feeling, and I still have this feeling, to not be only her caretaker, but also she takes care of me. This is a very funny phenomenon, to be honored, to take care of another beautiful being, in this case our daughter, but I never could attach a feeling of belonging, that she belongs to me or to us in our family. So with this respect also, I never tried, and I think this goes for both of us, for Satya and me, we never tried to impose any spirituality on her. She grew up in a natural surrounding of chanting, of meditating, of a different lifestyle. We were recording a lot of music. I remember when she came to us, we were recording one album after the other, songs came, and so she grew up in this field of chanting to God, to love. So this has for sure have an impact on her life, as it did also have an impact on our own life. And it was actually enhancing this energy field of the family. She was never a disturbance, as some might think. It was actually enhancement. Looking at it from now, after so many years, she's 19 now. She's a grown-up woman, beautifully developing her own self, not being instructed about New Age and about spirituality by father or mother. She can choose herself what is important and needing for her. That is for me absolutely important, to give her the freedom of choice.
But were there any challenges in normal life?
There were some challenges, for sure, because we are not a normal family. So living as a normal family in a normal society with normal rules and regulations will for sure lead to some collisions. That's why we decided also to move and look for a certain school that would give more freedom for her to express who she is in a normal society of more respect.
Can you recommend something for daily spiritual practice to our viewers who might just start exploring it?
I find it's a great daily practice the moment you are awake and your eyes open and the day starts, to give yourself a few breaths of realizing that you are there. I am here, I exist, I breathe, so I'm alive. And to give yourself, although you have so many plans, what needs to be done, give yourself few breaths, even just few minutes. For me, this is the deepest way of connecting every day and each day with yourself and life. I don't advise any special techniques or methods or practices unless one is used to do this. Why not to continue? But for me, this is actually the essence of meditation, remembering I am here, I am here. This is for me the key. It doesn't need much time also. You can do your breakfast, I'm here. You can look at somebody, I'm here. You can look at yourself, I'm here. This is a big key word of our own existence, which can explode and expand in many dimensions in the daily routine. Sometimes people, they have a certain practice and they meditate 1.5 hours like a robot, and they're not there at all. They just do their practice in the hope that the practice will do something to them. It's exactly the other way around. You do the practice for yourself. And then, understanding this key, you can actually let go of anything the moment you are there and you feel yourself. This is the effect of the practice, to bring you into yourself, into the moment, into the real pulsating life.
Which books touched you the most in your life, and which one did you read last?
Oh, I have been a great lover of books all my life. Still, I love receiving gifts. When people don't know what they could give me, they could always give me books, and they're looking always for nice, interesting books for me. So I receive regularly nice books. Recently, I even received a book about Geneva, about the sightseeing around Geneva, and I really am interested in all these kind of things. But my first important book that I read in my life, that was kind of trend-setting, let's say, for my mindset, was this novel that I mentioned yesterday in the concert, Alexis Zorbas, or Zorba the Greek, by Nikos Kazantzakis, a Greek novelist, a writer with a genuine heart and the authentic thirst for truth. He was a minister, he was a very famous guy in the 20s and 30s in Greece, and he wrote this book shortly before he died. And this was basically his final statement about life, that whatever he made in his life, whatever experiences he had, spiritual, he was also studying Buddhism, philosophy. He traveled through Lebanon, Israel, Persia, India, many places. And the quintessence of his life was just be a normal human being, man. And the ultimate what counts is that you are a normal human being. Friendly, saying yes to life, accepting its pleasures, its pain. Even more advisable, he said, to suffer than pretending not to suffer. Admit that you suffer, admit that life is challenges, and admit that life can be hard sometimes. Finding back to your original heart, where life is immediately one-to-one takes place. From there anything can happen. Often people avoid the direct contact with life, using different methods and concepts. They know so much about life, but they're avoiding life. And he must have been doing this professionally many years to come to this conclusion at the very end. Innocent like a man. Suffer when it's time to suffer. Be happy when it's time to be happy. Cry when it's time to cry. Laugh when it's time to cry. We are not the controllers and rulers and manipulators of life. We are, in a certain way, creatures being created by life itself. So pretending we stand above life is human arrogance. And that is actually avoiding the entrance to the inner world, which starts with accepting of who we are on this level. It cannot go deeper already if we make a mistake there. And this book expressed all that in very beautiful metaphors here and there. And I was so touched to discover that Greece is my homeland and this was happening in Greece, in Crete, and then I saw the movie and this was a very impressive book for me. Later on I read another book that was very impressive for me too, from Osho. It was called Tantra, the Supreme Understanding. And this opened another gate of inner worlds. It was reading one page and then I could not read further because I was in a trance. Every sentence was bing, 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 ringing bells in me, every word. I think there are some people, and I have made the experience that there are people, they read something and it means something to them. Others, they read and they have a, aha, interesting, I will think about it. And there are some people, they read a sentence and it opens a whole vast experienced universe in their heart. I think I was born with this desire or ability, you can say. So this book opened definitely a lot for me.
Is there something in the pipeline, an album, a song, a retreat? What is the next that is coming up?
Well, between Satyaa and me, we are connected to an incredible, unknowable, nameless source, and what flows out of it is not petrol and wealth in the form of material, but a lot of need and thirst to express more and more and more of this nameless, beautiful, loving source. And we do have some projects coming up soon in form of seminars, in form of books, in form of music also. And we are not controlling it actually, it controls rather us. And our synergy in this is incredible because we enhance each other and manifesting so many beautiful things has been so from the beginning. So right now what we are up to is actually a book. I've been working on a book about our music, a songbook which has been already overdue and soon will be this year hopefully released. And some music projects are waiting in line also.
Thank you so very much. Looking forward to hear more from you.
Pleasure. Nice. Thank you for the interview. Thank you.